Welcome to the Game Maker UFO asteroid style game build. In this episode, we are going to begin with collisions. Let's go ahead and open the Object Properties dialog box for OBJ Photon. We're going to add an event. We're going to add a collision with the large meteor. We're going to go to main one and we're going to add an instance. We're going to click on Object and we're going to have it apply to the large meteor. Then the object that we're going to create is going to be the OBJ explosion, and the X and the Y are both going to be at 0, and we will check the relative box, so it will explode at the point that it hits the meteor. Let's go ahead and click OK to save the changes, click OK to save the property box, and let's go ahead and test. Okay, so what's happening is we're getting an explosion on both large meteors. So we're going to fix that in a moment, but we do want to go to the large meteor and we want to make sure that we center our origin, and we're going to do that to all of the meteors. Let's go ahead to all three and center their origin. And the same thing with the explode, center. Okay, if we test it one more time, that should be a little bit more centered. There we go. We want to fix some of these problems, but first, before we do fix the bugs, we need to talk about something about blocks of code. Sometimes you need more than one action to take place simultaneously when an event is met, so that could be done with blocks. So let's open up OBJ Photon again, and let's go ahead and click on our meteor collision. We're going to go to the Control tab, and we're going to find Start Block. We're going to drag that in, and we're going to go ahead and move that to the beginning. So that'll be the first thing that'll happen, and then we create the instance immediately following that. Below Create Action, we're actually going to destroy the photon. So let's go to main one and get Destroy Instance, and this time we're going to have it destroy self. And below Destroy Photon, we want to add one more Destroy Instance. We're actually going to destroy the large meteor. So click Object Large Meteor, OK. We're going to go back to our Control tab, grab In Block and drop it there. Go ahead and save that, and Command S, and let's test it out again. Okay, so it did destroy the instance, it did destroy the meteor, but both large meteors were destroyed. So we need to fix that so only one meteor will be destroyed. This is part of programming, and that is debugging. I purposely programmed that in because I do want you to get a chance to understand that not every time everything's going to work right, and it's a matter of trying to figure out what went wrong. So let's go ahead and debug the problem here. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to OBJ Photon, go to our meteor collision, and what's actually happening is we are destroying both objects at the same time. So if we actually click on Destroy Instance, this one was self, that's okay. Create Instance, and what's happening here is when it created the explosion, the reason why the explosion is happening in both places is because we are connecting it to OBJ Meteor Large. What we want to do is click Other, so it will actually apply to whatever it's hitting and not necessarily applied to that object. And actually, because we're adding the explosion, we may want the explosion to happen where the photon actually hits and not necessarily the center of the meteor. So if we click Self here, that might actually be a better spot to drop that. Let's click OK. And now when we go to Destroy Instance, instead of destroying the meteor large, we're going to destroy Other, and that will be whatever instance that photon actually hits. Click OK again. Let's save that, and we'll do a Command S and test. So just the one large meteor explodes. Let's do the other one. There we go. So now our explosions are happening. We're doing good. We're going to do one more thing, and then we're going to end this episode. We're going to add some sound. So far, it's pretty bad that it's strictly silent out there in space. So we're going to add some sound effects. Let's go ahead and click Create a Sound. And we'll call the first one SND Photon. And we're going to add the laser shot. Open. We can test it. That's right. Okay. We're going to add another sound. SND Explode. We're going to go ahead and load the explosion. That's good. Okay. And now we want to add those to our programming. Let's go ahead and open up OBJ Photon. Let's go ahead and first go to create. And so when we actually send the photon out to begin with is when we're actually going to have the photon sound. So let's drag sound out of main 1 and it will be sound photon. The loop is false because it's only going to play once. If we wanted to repeat, the loop would be true. Click OK. Now we go to the meteor collision. We grab sound out again and we're going to put this in the block. And this time this is going to be explode, also false. And we're going to actually play that first. Click OK. Command S to save. Let's test one last time. So everything seems to be working really nice. Let's go ahead and stop that. So that's the end of this episode. We're going to continue next episode by copying and pasting these actions into the medium and small meteors.